Hi guys, and welcome back to another video again with Powers. I'm Jake, and today guys, I'm going to be giving you my review of CookieRun Kingdom, the board game. This is coming to you from a team up of the Devsisters and Gemblo, alright? If you are not familiar with CookieRun Kingdom, this is basically just the board game version of the smash hit mobile game. CookieRun, where it's like an idle type game where you're going to be having different cookies that are going to have different powers, and you're basically battling. I don't want to say it's like Clash of Clans, but it has some of that mechanics to it, where you're like trying to build your own kingdom, and then you go and fight things, and certain cookies have certain powers to heal, support, defense, all that different RPG-like mobile game. All right, so that is CookieRun the game, CookieRun Kingdom the game. If you ever heard it, smash hit mobile game. This is the board game version of this game, again coming to you from Devsisters and Team Gemblo. All right, guys. Before I jump into my review of the game, we haven't really done a playthrough of this on our channel. We have a how to play, an in-depth how to play, which I'll link somewhere up there, but I'm just going to take you down to the table and give you a short, quick overview of how the game works, and then we'll be back up top here for my review. Alright guys, so we're down here at the table where we got everything set up for a two-player version of CookieRun Kingdom, the board game, alright? So the overall objective of CookieRun Kingdom, the board game, is to score the most victory points. And so you can earn victory points a number of different ways, right? The first way is from the tiles, the building tiles that you buy and put into your little kingdom here, right? They're all going to have victory points on them based upon how expensive they are or how rare they are worth, to say, okay? You can also gain victory points from defeating some monsters over here. So some of these bounties are going to have victory points when you defeat that monster, as well as give you coins. For example, like this red velvet dragon will give you 4 victory points once he is defeated. Okay, other than that, you'll be able to score victory points for having Aurora pillars and coins left over. So those are essentially the 4 ways to score victory points. And how do you go about all this stuff? So basically, again, guys, what you'll do is you have these little sugar gnomes. So this is kind of like the worker placement part of the game, where you're going to be placing these sugar gnomes at different spots around the board, like cookie castles, landmarks, buildings, on the adventure board, train station, balloon dock. And you'll be placing them and buying tiles over here on this board, and then doing certain actions here on this board. So for example, like the train station, you'll be able to trade in coins to get these pillars, which you need these pillars in order to buy like level 2 buildings and some of these more expensive landmarks, okay? The balloon dock will allow you to roll this dice to gain coins or Aurora pillars. The seaside dock will allow you to just get coins or gain the first player marker. Today's bounties, you'll go here, and that's where you would fight the monsters, all right? These 2 things right here on your board, you might be wondering, you start with these like forest tiles or swamp tiles, and you have to clear these out in order to open up more space, and you just pay a sugar gnome and an Aurora pillar in order to clear that out, and you'll get bonuses for that. Alright, the other thing in the game is you will have access to your gingerbread. These gingerbread are going to help you defeat some of these monsters. So you'll roll the monster dice, and there's like -1, a 1, 2, and 3 on the dice. And so whatever your roll is, you'll add however many gingerbread you have. So let's say I have 2, and I rolled a 1 here, so my attack would be 3, and then I would use that. So that is the roll of the gingerbread, all right? But that is basically the game in a nutshell. You'll have a production phase where you produce everything that you have in your kingdom. You'll place your sugar gnomes out and workers, and then you'll kind of do a cleanup phase. And after the end of 8 rounds, all right, which we have the round tracker over here. I know it's cut off, but it should look something like this when you put it together. Something like that. That's how it would look like. At the end of 8 rounds, you will add up whoever has the most victory points, and that person will be the winner. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump right into my review of CookieRun Kingdom, the board game. So starting off with the theme here. I'm going to go ahead and give this theme a 7 out of 10. I think it's just an overall good theme to the game. It does do a lot of things that the CookieRun mobile game does from what I've seen. I don't own the CookieRun mobile game. I've never played it. But from my understanding, it's that RPG idle-like game. And so it does have a lot of... It takes the game and does a lot of cool things with the board game. And so what I'm trying to say is that, like, the idle part of the game, when you don't have to play the game, when you're not playing the game is going to continue to produce things and do things for you. So that kind of has that feeling with this game, with that production phase, right? You're being able to produce coins or pillars or different things like that, and so that works really well here. And then, like, the sugar gnome aspect of going to all these, like, train stations, balloon docks, trying to upgrade your characters and things like that. In the mobile game, it has a little bit of those elements here, being able to do some of those different things. You can't upgrade your characters, but going to the train station, the balloon dock, visiting those things. So I think it just overall does a good job of having a lot of similarities to the mobile game. So if you enjoy the mobile game, you're going to probably enjoy CookieRun Kingdom. All right. However, my only qualm with, I think this could be a very good theme, is that the cookies themselves do not give you any type of special bonus or power. The only purpose that they serve is they just help you add +1 to an attack die. So even though there's a bunch of different cookies in the game, the only purpose that those cookies are going to serve is to give you that extra die. So I think that's kind of a letdown, and why it's at a 7. It could be at an 8 for me in regards to that, but 7 out of 10 is my theme. I think it's a good overall theme. All right, moving on to the components. So as with always, guys, I'm going to go ahead and jump to the table real quick, show off these components, talk about the components, tell you my rating, and we're going to go ahead and move right along. So let's go ahead and talk about these components. I think I'm going to give the components a 7 out of 10 here. There's just nothing that really stands out to me. It's just all pretty good production with what you would expect from a Kickstarter game. For example, taking a look at some of these sugar gnomes, and I actually have a new camera that I'll show you. So taking a look at these sugar gnomes here, if it wants to zoom in here, but taking a look at these sugar gnomes, you can see that they're nice and screen printed. Your cookies, let me grab some of these cookies here. The cookies themselves are going to be nice and have this cool little screen print on them. This would be wizard cookie, and I think this is custard cookie. So screen printed on all of your nice little meeples. Even the Aurora pillars are going to have a screen print to them. Everything else is just going to be generic cardboard. So taking a look at these coins, cardboard, the tiles, the building tiles, all themselves are going to be cardboard. However, I'll see if I can show this to you guys. Some of these tiles here have like a glossy little finish compared to you can kind of see there's like, you see that glossy right there? There you go. They have like a glossy little finish on these landmark tiles that are compared to the normal tiles here that are not going to have that glossy finish. So that's kind of cool. The dice are pretty cool. So go ahead and show you. This is the balloon dock dice right here, which is going to give you the bunch of different coins and Aurora pillars. And this is the battle dice that's there. So that's going to give you the see what's on the battle dice. So that's pretty cool as well. And then we have the track that I was going to show you earlier, guys. So if you can see that, that's kind of the last part of the track. Again, it's just generic cardboard, all right? All of the cards, each cookie is going to have their own individual card. So wizard cookie, strawberry cookie, these are some stretch goal cookies here. But like I said, they don't have any individual powers. It's just a reference sheet, a quick reference sheet. So you have all these different cookies, and they're all quick reference sheets, but it's only a 4-player game, so I don't understand the purpose of having all of these. The cards, then you have the cards here. These are just a standard miniature card with nothing too crazy there either. Okay. But these are the components of the game. So again, nothing to write home about, right? These are not like awesome components, but they are not bad either. Again, for me, it's somewhere in that in between. I'm just giving it a 7 out of 10. I think these are standard components and a standard production of what you would expect from a Kickstarter game, because of the deluxeified stretch goals and different things like that. All right, we'll catch you back up top and go ahead and finish the rest of this review. All right, moving on into setup. So I'm going to go ahead and give the setup a 7 out of 10 here. I think it's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes to set the game up, which is nothing crazy. Essentially, what's just going to take so long is getting all of the individual components out, right? There's 2 boards. With the player boards themselves, each player is going to have to get their sugar gnomes, the cookies out, and getting the tiles and all that stuff set up. But it's not so strenuous that it's going to give you, it's not a lot of stuff that it's going to give you a headache, but it's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes to go ahead and set it up. Standard setup for what I would expect for a game of this production, so 7 out of 10 for me. Moving on to length. So I'm going to go ahead and give the length a 7 out of 10 here, guys. On the box, it does say 30 to 60 minutes, and that does hold very true, right? At about 2 players, it's going to take about 30, 35 minutes. Add in a 3rd player, I would say around 45 minutes, and then that 4th player is what's going to be about 50 to 60 minutes of game time here. The first couple rounds are going to move very quickly, so you'll be able to get halfway through the game very quick, and then it's those back half rounds where you have more options because you've unlocked more sugar gnomes to place out on the board is really what's going to eat up a good chunk of the time. But it moves fairly quickly, especially at 2 players, so 7 out of 10 for me here. Okay, next up we have the difficulty. So as a reminder, guys, remember the lower the number of the difficulty, the easier we feel the game is. The higher the number of difficulty, the harder we feel the game is. I'm going to go ahead and give this game a 3 out of 10 here. Look, on the box it does say 14 plus recommended age, but I do think this game is simple enough to where it can maybe be played at like a 10 or a 12 level. It's just, there's not a whole lot to the game, right? You got 3 phases, the production phase, the worker placement phase essentially, and then the cleanup phase. And so in the production phase, you're just producing what's in your kingdom, and all of the tiles themselves are very clear with how much they cost, what phase they are, and what they give you. All right, I'll show you an example here. So looking at the screen here, so you can see this tile, right? It says up at the top, this is a production phase. You'll gain 2 coins. On the left-hand side, this is how much it would have cost. On the right-hand side, that is how many victory points that tile will be. So the tiles are marked very clearly. The phases, everything on the boards are marked very clearly. And so it's just, you're not going to get too caught up with analysis paralysis or all of these different steps on your turn, because everything, the iconography is very, very clear. So 3 out of 10 here for me in terms of difficulty. Okay, moving on to replayability. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 7 out of 10 here. I think there's some good replayability with the game, right? Because there's a bunch of different things that are going to change every single time you play. The way you set up your kingdom board, okay, with all of your tiles, that's going to change. The building tiles are going to change. The landmark tiles, which is those endgame scoring tiles, those are going to change every play, because those landmark tiles, you're only putting 4 out, and there's like 12 to 15 in the box at a 2-player game. So those are going to change almost every single time you're playing this game. The monsters that you're fighting are going to change every single time. Now, you might be able to get through the entire deck depending on how active you are with fighting, but sometimes there's a balance where you don't really need to fight, and you're not going to get through all those monsters. So you're going to be seeing new monsters a lot of times. There's not a whole lot of monsters in the deck, but there's enough to where, you know, you play it about 2 or 3 times and you're seeing new monsters. So all of that stuff is going to be changing every time. And so I think it's some good replayability here. So 7 out of 10 for me. All right, moving on to price. So this one's a little tricky because this game has not hit retail. I don't know if there's any plans for it to hit retail yet, okay? Really, the only way you can find this game right now is on eBay, but when searching up on eBay, I found the Korean version, I believe, of the game. I never found another US copy of the game. So I don't know if you can even pick this game up. But we're just going to go off my price of what I backed for it on Kickstarter and what I think about that price. So I paid $39 USD for the game. It was an additional $9 for the playmat add-on. I think at that price, I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. I think it's just a good price. This is what I would expect to pay for a production of this level, with all the tiles, with the screen printed meeples of all the cookies, and the Aurora pillars and the sugar gnomes and things like that. Typically, when you see a game like this with all these components in a production, it's going to be right around that $40 to $45 price. Sometimes they're even $50. And so I think here, it's a good price for me at 39. We'll just call it 40, right? It's a good price for me at 40. Now, again, I don't have anything information for you guys on the retail, if it's going to hit retail, but 7 out of 10 for me. All right, so overall score of the game. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 7 out of 10, guys. I think overall this is just a good game, right? This is it's a funny game. It's a unique game. You know, I never played CookieRun Kingdom, the mobile game, so it's giving me that board game feel, but it does have some cool mechanics of, you know, worker placement. If you like worker placement, this is going to be a cool game for you. You're building your own kingdom, so it has that, I don't want to say tableau building, but tile placement slash city building, you could say, is what it has. So it satisfied those two mechanics, has some dice rolling into it. I think this could be an 8 for me, but the big issue with me again is that they gave us a lot of these different cookies. You saw all those cookie cards and all the different types of cookies that they have, and all you're doing is just picking 5 of your choice, and those are your 5 cookies that you have for the game. But again, they don't give you any other bonus or benefit other than adding +1 to your dice rolls on your when you're doing a bounty for a monster, okay? And for me, I think that's a huge letdown. Is I wish these cookies had like a different ability, like when you would select your 5 and each 5 had a different power, and when you gained access to them, like they would give you an extra coin, or you could, you know, some of the stuff that was on the tiles and the buildings, you could get some of those powers, or like they do give you a plus, like if there's a fighter cookie, that does give you a +1 to your roll. Or like maybe there's one that gives you +1 whatever you get on the balloon dock dice, right? Like I wish some of these cookies would give you bonuses for going on the different things. Like maybe the building tiles cost 1 less coin. I think there was a lot of variations they could have gone with this, and from what I read on the Kickstarter page in the comment section, a lot of people felt the same way, that what's the purpose of having all these cookies, because a lot of the stretch goals were cookies, but they don't do anything other than they're just like standing there, and visually they look cool, but they just give you +1 extra die. So I think for me that this game could have been an 8 for me. All right, so this is CookieRun Kingdom, guys. Again, 7 out of 10 for me. I do like the worker placement and the tableau city building type aspect of it. Again, I just wish those cookies will be able to give me some powers. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. Go ahead and drop a like. Help us out. Give me a like on this video. Comment, do you guys own CookieRun Kingdom? Have you ever heard of it? Because not a lot of people have heard of it. This is a sleeper one. And so go ahead and drop a comment if you're interested in this. I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description of the Kickstarter page. Again, I have no idea when this is going to hit retail. But as always, guys, if you're not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe so we can keep bringing you more awesome content. Y'all have a great one. Bye.